I was in an entertainment company, but I got out of acting and I went to UCLA to take two classes, one in production and one in script analysis. I was also joining a consciousness research institute. It was through the Consciousness Research Institute that I met Doc Childrey, who was the founder of HeartMath. Doc Childrey was the one that created the tools and techniques. And then the idea was to create scientifically based tools and techniques to help people get into this more physiological alignment,
Hmm.
between the heart and the brain, but a lot more other systems, and how the heart and the brain work together for optimal learning and performance. But it was much more than that. The heart does so much more. It's where the seat of our emotions, it's
Mm.
where love and care and compassion really
Yeah.
reside. And that if you get the heart and the brain working together, people connecting, and I've always felt like people connecting through the heart is
Mm.
the fastest way to bring yourself up, but also help other people. And
Mm. Welcome back to our show, Empower Your Life with Cindy Marie. This is the show where we focus on expressing, not impressing. Here we celebrate authenticity, being real, building resilience or strengths, and learning how to live life full of mission and purpose. We're here to help you unlock your full potential, create the life that you're meant to live, and be unstoppable. Today's guest has worked at HeartMath Institute or organization in California for over 35 years, helping people connect with heart and mind for a healthier and happier life. HeartMath is a nonprofit that creates science based tools to guide personal growth and well being. She is now the certification specialist and training sales manager, supporting HeartMath trainings and programs. Today's episode, we're diving deeper, unlocking our heart's power, learn how HeartMath tools can help us handle challenges, connect with stillness, open hearts, and more. So let's all welcome our next guest, Christiana Bishop. Christiana, thank you so much for being with us and welcome to our show.
thank you so much, Cindy Marie. This is really a pleasure. And you and I have had a couple of conversations and I've really enjoyed them. So I'm looking forward to this one as well.
Yay! And Christiana, we have a tradition on our show where we love so much to hear our guests' humble beginnings, early journeys, how they end up where they are today. And for you, gosh, that's over 35 years of working or participating or contributing with HeartMath. I have a lot of guesses. One of those will be, of course, that led you to having an incredible mission and purpose, and HeartMath actually became a fuel or a tool with that, and also the journeys that you had. And this is the moment for us to hear your lovely and incredible story. So share with us.
Well, thank you. Generally, let me start from the beginning, and I'm going to try to make it a little bit short, but it's a long story.
Mm.
So I generally had a happy childhood, I would
Mm.
say. And what's unusual was that our family moved about 11 times during the time that from the time that I was born to the time that I ended up in high school, which is where we
Mm.
ended up. So I'm inherently shy.
Mm.
And so you can imagine the amount of flex that I had to experience as I was going through all these different schools and meeting different kids
Mm.
and having to put myself out there. So that was my first step into learning more about who I was and
Mm.
what I could do to kind of get in through this blueprint or whatever my purpose was.
Yeah.
Um, so when I got into high school, which I absolutely loved this school because I met friends pretty easily. I was still shy. And I had an English lit teacher that taught Shakespeare, and I lit up. I loved Shakespeare, so that gave me passion.
Mm.
But I knew that I needed to get rid of this kind of introversion, this feeling of shyness. So
Mm.
I joined choir and drama
Ah.
so that I could, get over it. And what I found was that I could get into this character and then sort of get out of myself, and it helped me. It helped
Mm-hmm.
me get through things. So I did that, and then, my shyness would wax and
Of
wane,
course.
wane.
Go ahead.
But then, so I went to college, and I wanted
Mm.
to go to college to be a teacher because my mother was a teacher, and was an incredible role model.
Mm.
And but I couldn't get my drama and theater classes, so I changed my major back to theater, and that's what I continued to do. Now, I was still shy, but when my passion came out, the
Mm-hmm.
shyness went away. When I
Mm.
immersed myself in a character, my shyness would go away. So I got into theater, and there were two things that stood out when I
Mm.
was in this university. And that was, I was about to graduate, and I was in the last semester. So I
Mm-hmm.
created a musical. I put together the actors, the director, the orchestra. I
Wow.
also acted in it. And it was like a thesis project. And
Mm-hmm.
I defended my thesis and I passed, which was a
Wow.
really good thing. So that was one thing. Then
Mm-hmm.
the second was that I got an offer to go to the American Conservatory Theater Advanced Training Program in San Francisco, which is
Mm.
quite a prestigious place to go. An offer of a scholarship, partial scholarship, but I needed a recommendation letter.
Mm.
So I went to my advisor, who happened to be head of theater arts, and asked him for a recommendation letter, and he said no.
Oh,
So you can imagine how I felt that
yeah.
this reinforced that I'm not good enough.
Mm.
So I was getting over that. And then I went to another class. It was a video class. And I was doing a monologue of an older woman.
Mm-hmm.
And all the students were there. The videographer was there. My advisor was there, who's also the one that ran the class.
Mm-hmm.
And I just threw myself into this character, this older woman. And it was kind of like I didn't even know what I was doing. I just got into that character. And when I finished, I looked up and it was completely silent. And all these people were just staring at me.
Mm.
And the videographer hadn't even punched the button, there was no video of it.
Oh.
But my advisor took me aside that day and said
Uh-huh.
he would write that recommendation letter for me.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So that signaled to me that I was on the right path. Wherever I
Yes.
needed to go, I was in the right direction. And that's
Mm.
really important as you're sort of on this young person's journey trying to
Yeah.
get where you want to go. So I did go to this incredible school for a year
Mm-hmm.
and a half. There was it was so much wonderfulness in terms of theater craft and arts and voice and movement. I learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I got a job in Texas in a Shakespeare festival
Mm.
and did that. And then I decided to go to Los Angeles and be part of the entertainment industry there.
Mm.
And that's a long story, but I'll shorten it, which is that after a few years, I got out of acting.
Mm-hmm.
I was in an entertainment company, but I got out of acting and I went to UCLA to take two classes, one in production and one in script analysis.
Wow.
And while I was in the script analysis class, my professor was the head of development for Home Box Office, HBO.
Mm-hmm.
And he hired me and one other student to be contractors for HBO to read scripts and recommend projects. And this is exactly what I wanted to do.
Mm.
Um, I was also doing something similar to that in the other entertainment company where I was working full time.
Mm.
But so I had these two jobs that I was doing.
Wow.
The reason why I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, I felt, was because media and entertainment or any kind of thing where people are being shown, how life is like, I
Mm.
think there's so much influence for people on
Yeah.
that. It changes people's lives. It influences them in such a way to perceive things differently that I wanted to uplift. The
Mm.
reason why I was in the entertainment industry was to provide projects that uplifted. So that was why I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was going in this direction, I was also joining a consciousness research institute.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, and in this institute, we were honing our communication skills so that we could
Hmm.
really connect with people and so on. And it was through the Consciousness Research Institute that I met Doc Childry, who was the founder of HeartMath. So,
Wow.
so I've wound my way to where I met Doc Childry. Now, he talked about the heart
Hmm.
and how the heart and the brain work together for optimal learning and performance. But it was much more than that. The heart does so much more. It's where the seat of our emotions, it's
Mm.
where love and care and compassion really
Yeah.
reside. And that if you get the heart and the brain working together, then you can actually create more physiological alignment
Hmm.
and therefore have more intuition about who you really want to become.
Mm.
So just understanding what the heart does in the human system, that pinged me. And I said, okay, I'm going to join the HeartMath Institute.
Wow.
It was actually before the HeartMath Institute was even formed.
Wow.
I was one of several people
Hmm.
that basically joined to help create this, well, just one of many people to help create what is here now. So
Hmm.
that's my journey, my story.
Wow. It touched me so much that I have to process that because it's a big transition, right? And I felt a little bit resonance with your story.
Okay.
I've been exposed on performance. I also joined choir at young age,
Right.
probably 6, 7, 8, when we were moved to Indonesia. And I don't know, I can't remember. I was shy, but all I know, I have this voice in me, and I've been always pushed by my family to keep singing. And so my exposure being on stage really helped me to be confident. Now, that's why whenever I'm having a conversation, the difference between confidence and self esteem, these are two different things. You can
Right.
be confident in front of people, but you have really low self esteem. And that was me.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I
wow.
have the same thought as you when it comes to
Yeah.
media, entertainment. I mean, you know where I'm from, Philippines. We are a big replica of US. So whatever's trendy, we have. And I have always this thought that one day, not only I become a person with influence on stage, but I will be someone that will be performing for a reason. And that's why I'm so curious listening to you. Okay, which part actually should change? Because that's a really huge difference. That's a really huge jump. But I'm really curious before we head to heart math. And I have the feeling that you are one of the pioneers, not because of the years, but it's just because of understanding the depth. And so, how my curiosity to follow up your story, what made you really decide, because you love what you're doing within entertainment, and here we are having someone to share with you in depth or some just brief discussion that this is where I'm heading. Are you in or out? And what made you kind of like, yeah, this is for me?
Really, really good question. There's usually a signal internal, and I think everybody has that capacity to experience that
Mhm.
signal. But for me, it was really understanding that love, or the capacity to love in all of its forms, would be the real thing that would make a difference. Because I
Mhm.
wanted to make a difference, obviously, in entertainment, but this would go direct to help people because I really believed in what he was saying.
Mhm.
So there are quite a few people who were originators of all of this, and that I think had some kind of a ping, because, and I did change my life to do this.
Yeah.
I got out of the theater business, but I was connecting with people and
Mhm.
seeing change and seeing fulfillment. And so that really fulfilled me. So I
Okay.
hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes. It's like understanding your values, because in when we grow, when we matured, our understanding of one value would change. Because before, my belongingness is more on being part of the crew because of people pleaser. But then now, my sense of understanding of belongingness is giving people safe space, that we are here in this together. You
Yes.
know, we are all connected as we speak about heart. And thank you for sharing that, because I think for many people who are watching or listening, they might have a lot of questions in their mind that they want to know as well. We are in this world of, I can call, at least for me, I felt that. We are in the world of activation, awakening. And
Mhm.
so I'm super curious going to the heart math, right?
Mm.
I first learned heart math through Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, which I told you. And
Yes.
from there, I have been following the organization. And of course, that's how I met you,
Yes. Yeah.
how I come to know you, and very honored to have this space and moment of not only times of conversation off the cam, but having this privilege and opportunity of interviewing you and having you the space of sharing with us what is really the heart math is all about. You know, I briefly introduce that it helps people connect open and open and heart and mind, and it's
Mm.
more like, how can this institute or organization help people grow, help people to live life better? And I know maybe in America it's a big thing. I am not sure because I'm new here. I'm starting to learn. But I think not only the organization itself, but it's the message behind it that worth to be spread out, not only in America, but across the globe. So I would love you to share with us in depth what is a heart math tool.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, I think you're really right. It's about people connecting. And I've always felt like people connecting through the heart is
Mm,
the fastest way to bring yourself up, but also help other people. And
mm,
in terms of heart math,
mm,
you know, Doc Childry was the one that created the tools and techniques. And then there were a small group of us that actually practiced it and piloted it with
mm,
other organizations, other agencies, that kind of thing. We did that until it was solid. The idea was to create scientifically based tools and techniques to help people get into this more physiological alignment,
mhm,
between the heart and the brain, but a lot more other systems get involved with that because if you can get into this physiological alignment, you can control or be more in charge of who you really are and where you want to go. You can
mhm,
have more intuitive discernment and and get the guide that you need. So actually, there's a signal that goes from the heart
mhm,
and the body back to the brain. It facilitates cortical functioning, where we make the decisions, where the executive functions are. So there's alignment, but then
mhm.
there's an alignment in the autonomic nervous system, which is where you need to be balanced.
Yes.
And then it also aligns the hormonal system and immune systems. So
Mm,
all these systems get aligned once you start with the heart,
mm.
and that's what we call heart coherence.
Yes, I love that.
So heart coherence is really that thing that we're talking about and we're teaching people how to get. And HeartMath, I think, really was the originator of this kind of process, not saying that the physiology isn't something for absolutely everybody can do it.
Mhm,
It's an accelerated way for anybody to get more into their own alignment
mhm,
physiologically first, and then be able to align with more of the energetic part of who you are.
mhm.
Like your dreams and your imagination and what you're here to do.
Yes.
So all of that was part of how it started. And then the emotion self-regulation tools and techniques are part of this. Some of them are for meditation so that you take a longer time and you get into this alignment space or you get into heart coherence. And then there's this carryover effect that you can get into where your own internal behavioral baseline becomes more in this sort of organized way that is more of who you are.
Mhm.
Um, and then there are other techniques we use in the moment when stress or challenge is coming up. So
Mhm.
when I get shy on stage, or when, if you have self-esteem issues or whatever it is, you can use them in the moment when that stress is happening.
Mm.
You don't, eyes open, nobody needs to know you're doing it. And when you do it, you feel this different shift. You can take a pause and then make another decision in the moment. And it's one of those things that really brought more people, I think, to the HeartMath Institute for this kind of work. So there's a
Mhm.
whole series of tools and techniques for that. But if you'd like, I can share one of the most basic techniques that I think everybody could utilize if
Yes,
that's
please. Yes, go on. First,
okay.
basic. Let's do it.
Okay. Um, so this technique is called heart focused breathing.
Okay.
And what it does is it sort of turns down the volume of
Mm.
intensity on emotions. Like if you're really upset, or if you're in, you're in a racing mind or disturbed emotions and you want to sort of ratchet the volume down.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the first step in the heart coherence process.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and do it together.
Yes, yes. The practice is the most important.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to say a few words and you just follow them. That's all.
Okay.
So just focus your attention in the area of the heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. We're just going to do that for another 20 seconds or so. Okay. So what was that experience like for you, Cindy Marie?
I always love it. And it's interesting because if you know me 5 years ago, hey, beautiful souls, quick message. If you're looking for support on your personal or professional journey, whether it's through coaching, singing, or speaking at your next event, I'm here to support you all the way to rediscover your authentic voice, empower your life, and be unstoppable. Let's connect and see how we can work together. Schedule a call with me. Now, if you would love to sponsor our Empower Your Life show with yours truly, we would be thrilled to partner with you. Simply reach out or contact us at contact@cindymarie.net, or the link is available in the description below. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's go back to the episode. Whatever. I'm so different. And in fact, today I was I was in awe. I was in surprising myself. I was telling my husband, I'm so at peace. That's so interesting. I'm so calm. And the reason why, it's because of all of this, the techniques. That's what we just did. When I feel the rush,
Mm,
I will step back and
yeah,
then I calm myself. And that's why you can see me naturally closing my eyes,
yeah.
because it just it just helped me to really put myself into that moment and really sending a signal to myself, to this body, that let's relax. Just the word powerful surrender.
Oh,
And so that's why I love what we did just now. Feel more calm.
I love that powerful surrender. Yeah, it gets you to a feeling of calm or ease. And
Mm,
that's like the first step in this
yeah.
heart coherence process. I mean, you haven't even really activated an emotional or renewing emotion yet.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that surrender and that powerfulness of the surrender is really That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Wow.
Do Before I ask you the next question, this
Mhm.
actually always leading me to curiosity. And Western and Eastern have always been have a different way of embracing or approaching life. Because you mentioned that
Mhm.
science-based tools, and I'm hearing this most of the time in America, or maybe even in Europe, that many of people led to proof first before allowing that to happen. Where I came from, it's just the feeling. We we've been conditioned and programmed in intuition, in gut. We don't know how to explain, we don't know how to, but we just know. And so through my personal development and spiritual journey, that's why I love it, because I combine both, not into the extent that I can explain more in scientific facts, because I have yet to dive deeper into that. But understanding that, wow, for many people, it requires that proof, because many people still having that fear. Now, fear, we are dealing with a lot of fear, lack, scarcity. And
Yes.
now, forget about like having that rush kind of feeling of upset. But some of us even sticking or staying into this comfort zone, which really hold us back
Mm.
to where we can grow and transform. And so we have practice, the basic, the beginning.
Yes.
And in your experience, Christiana, like how can we move past these barriers or challenges in terms of all of this thinking that we are where we are, we no longer can grow, we can no longer expand? How can we use any of the HeartMath tools maybe you have already in mind
Mhm.
that could really help people, especially for someone? Because, one of my observations, and I love to observe people
Mm.
here in America, really living in fear, lack, scarcity. And I can sense and I can feel that. So if someone is really determined to change, to evolve, to grow, what practical tool or tools from HeartMath would you recommend or suggest for them to try? Maybe we can even try now, but I leave that to you.
Okay. Um, that's great because I completely agree with you. The fear, the scarcity, the lack, the all of those things really get in the way
Mm,
of who we are or meant to be as
yeah.
human beings and how we can have fulfillment and make a difference and all of that, depending on, where you want to go with it. But I thought I would share with you one more tool that can help and put us on the path of the heart coherent process. And then I think your listeners can use it at different points when they get into the feeling
Yes.
of fear
Mm,
or it's a transformation process, even though it doesn't seem like it. It is.
okay.
So let's try it. And it actually builds on the heart focused breathing technique that we just did. So I'm going to do that again and then add this next part. It's called the quick coherence technique.
Okay.
So it's a technique that I was telling you about. Once you start learning it, you can close your eyes, but once you've learned it, you can do it with eyes open and be in front of people and they don't even know that you're doing it. So we'll try it again. So just focus your attention in the area of the heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. Now, as you continue heart-focused breathing, make a sincere attempt to experience a regenerative feeling,
Mm.
such as appreciation or care for someone or something in your life. I'm going to give a suggestion. So try to experience a feeling you have for someone you love,
Mhm.
a pet, a special place, an accomplishment, or just focus on a feeling of calm or ease. And we'll do this for another 20 seconds or so. Okay. So describe what you noticed this time in terms of doing that.
Um, how can I share this? I love to bring to life always my inner child every day. And
Mm.
so the moment that you share a suggestion, and I know it may sound small, but those small things really huge impact, at least for me. The thing that reminded me appreciation would be the hummingbirds that I always see,
Mhm.
and then the squirrels, and then the other birds. And then each time that they're singing and chirping and greeting us in the morning in the backyard, that's always my appreciation. And I have this practice to remind myself great things about life. And that's why people always see me as positive person because it's a skill.
Yeah,
People can learn. And going back to your question, that's what I felt, the
yeah.
appreciation of the nature, of how incredible they are, these animals, the nature, the trees, the flowers. And I love it. That's why I'm also smiling, feeling like a child as well.
I love that. In fact, I think you and I are very connected from that perspective because nature always does that for me as well. Um, and I think it's pretty universal. I think
Mm,
that the feeling of the birds chirping or, squirrels or just being around surrounded by plants and
mm,
animals and things like that can make a difference. Now, what's interesting is what do you do when you're in the middle of the urban jungle and you don't have those things? You can have an emotional memory that
mm,
you can keep inside of you to bring out when you need it,
mm,
when there are things that are irking you throughout the day. And this is what I always do. I always suggest to people to um, start to practice on the little things that
yes.
are that take you out of, your loving life. I mean, the things that cause us stress in our lives.
Mm,
So try to just add this emotional memory, bring back a heart coherent feeling by utilizing the heart. But by the way, the heart is not arbitrary in this whole process. You have to start with the heart because that's where our consciousness goes. It
mm,
starts here and then physiological changes happen. That's why it accelerates yourself. So that's the science behind it.
yes.
But but in terms of this heart connection and heart, by utilizing an emotional memory, I suggest adding it to different parts of your day
Mm,
and create habits. Like, for instance, we wake up in the morning, we have to brush our teeth every
mm,
morning. So as you're brushing your teeth, then use heart focused breathing or use the quick coherence technique. Bring
mm,
back that emotional memory. There's something you can always appreciate.
mm,
Or, you're making your coffee in the morning, you have a few minutes. You want to appreciate something, the fact that you're
mm,
going to drink that coffee, maybe, or um, when you're on Zoom with and you're doing a meeting with somebody, you want to
mm.
prep before that meeting and send some appreciation. I did that before I got on with you today.
Oh, I love it.
And then things like people going home from work where they're sitting in their cars and they're driving. You can do this eyes open, and
Mm.
you're preparing to get to walk through that door to be with your family who you really care about, and maybe leave some of that luggage and baggage from work behind so you can walk fresh and have more energy for your family. So these are just some of the things that I recommend when you're using these techniques that can really help transform those little moments where you can save energy and be more of who you are. And in nature is sounds like more of who you are.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's great.
Love it. You share very important that really connect the dots to the next question, because what many people experiencing right now is lack of space. Lack of space meaning step back. So when you say preparing coffee, what many people think is already work, right? Or meetings, whatever.
Right.
So the practice of stepping back, that requires a lot of self-awareness. Now, you
True.
mentioned multiple times
Mhm.
of who am I? Where am I? What kind of life? And so these are the deep, big questions, right? That I feel a lot of people either suppress, refuse, repress, or avoid, because that moment is only a place for you to be the most vulnerable and honest to yourself. And I believe that also reason of many why we are unable to give ourselves a space that, like what you have taught us just now, to bring all of those appreciation, gratitude, and thankfulness. It's because we never had that chance of sitting down, a kind of self reflection. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? And I know
Mm.
every stage of life per individual is different. Certain age, they're not there yet, but there are some people also already thinking about that. And so I'm super curious, Christiana, how can pairing these questions, deep questions, with heart math can help us into that kind of self reflection and giving us a moment of a space that it's okay to be honest, it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay this time. You give yourself a chance of honest conversation and it's still going to be safe. So that all of those things that we just practiced twice, first and the second, will
Mhm.
be able more to make it easier. So I'm curious, do you guys have any of that kind of tool?
I would say that learning more about who we really are, continuing to add information to the heart, and
Mm,
continuing to go into the heart and then asking questions from
mm,
your deeper intuitive self. I'm telling you, even if you use just those two techniques, although we have quite a few,
yes.
but we have techniques for decision making and
Mm,
going deeper
mm,
and project planning and um, being able to cut through some of the old emotional habits that don't serve,
yeah.
and being able to soak basically some of those hard experiences in the heart and getting rid of leaving those behind because it actually changed the neural circuits in the brain. So I
Yes.
think that's what you're asking me about. And I would say that everybody has the choice to make a decision of how to go to the heart and
Ooh.
then ask at from this deeper place. You have to be sincere about it and
Mm,
authentic because there's nobody around. It's just you and you, doing it. So I would say you have to be authentic and you have to um, practice, practice, practice is our motto at HeartMath whenever we're doing certifications or we're teaching people how to do this, because the practice is what gets you deeper and deeper and deeper.
mhm.
It's
Yes.
not just the surface stuff that you're doing, but keep practicing it and you'll see the difference. And
Mm,
I have lots of stories of how different things have changed over many years, things that seem stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think our society, our global society, and I'm not just talking about the United States, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's
Yeah.
a lot of anger. There's frustration and all of that. Anger, frustration, fear, that's what takes you out of the heart.
Yeah.
And the more that you can start on the small things to get yourself little by little and transform those feelings so that you are taking control
Mm-hmm.
of your feelings. It's not somebody doing it something to you or emotions are happening to you. It's
Mm-hmm.
how you can take charge of that.
Yes.
And so I found many times in my life when I felt stuck
Mm-hmm.
that if I was sincere about asking my larger self
Mm-hmm.
through my heart to help me, I might not get the answer right away,
Yeah.
but if I'm sincere and I stay with it, I will get drops of answers that
Mm-hmm.
are puzzle pieces to get me to the next step. And there have been a number of those throughout my life to help me get through some of the really hard stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would say to people, don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up on yourself
Mm-hmm.
because it's important to really understand that you have a purpose and you're
Mm-hmm.
here in life to give and be who you are. And that, if it's heart to heart,
Mm-hmm.
it's really going to make a difference. And then there's a ripple effect, basically. So I hope that kind of answered.
Yes, definitely. What I'm hearing, the most important, which I agree, and it's worth to repeat, sincerity, the genuine intention.
Yeah.
I personally believe in my own experience that your body, your old version of your brain, the other side, will constantly challenge you. So are you sure you want to change? Are you sure you want to live all of these things?
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be easy. But you mentioned practice, practice, practice. And I want to reiterate that. When you're genuine, when you're sincere, intentional with your transformation, and you keep on showing up, yes, it's not going to be easy. But because the universe is loving so much that you truly deserve everything, like what Christiana just said, you'll get the answer drop by drop. And we have to be patient. That's what I've learned in life.
Yeah.
Simplicity, compassion, love, and patience. So it I mentioned this one time and I'm going to mention this again because I think it's worth for people listening or hearing it. You imagine how many years you have built your persona for that and you just wanting to change overnight? No. How on earth, right? Even there's a magic pill, the magic pill will be dissolved and your old self will come back. So it's the same thing when we want to transform. It's going to challenge you every single day. And that's the reason why having this conversation with people like Christiana is so much powerful and so much empowering. What you just mentioned earlier, that don't give up on yourself. Yes, don't give up on yourself. And I truly believe on that. That's why I also created this podcast. It's because of the mission to bring awareness and spread the kind words and positivity to the people that you have everything that you want in life. It requires only that sense of, yes, I acknowledge I want to change. And also, I mentioned this earlier, surrender. Surrender because there are, at least I call them, there are higher than us that's supporting us in this life. And this led me to, having this mindset of optimism because it's also a skill, right? And I've learned in this journey of the podcast that some people don't really like the term. Some people don't use it. Some people don't want to call it. But I call myself an optimist My way of interpretation of optimism is that you know what's the truth, but you keep choosing the possible opportunities and possibilities, which makes me more optimistic. And that's my interpretation. Now, I'm very curious, Christiana, are you an optimist yourself? And if not, what helps you to keep moving forward? And you mentioned earlier that we are global society living in fear, anger, frustration. Especially now, we have so much access with information that you have no excuse. You know, if you really want to change, if you want to grow, if you want to live life the way you want, it's here. But the question now is how can we get rid of that distraction, right? So, what are those tools or practical tips that you personally, doesn't have to be hard math tools, but
Mhm.
you've been using or practicing and practicing every single day so that you have this sense of focus with your mission and purpose?
That's a big question.
I
I am an optimist.
know. Mm,
I think I always have been, but with practicality in
yes.
terms of how I look at things. Because after all, I lived in Los Angeles for a while. You have to watch out for the danger piece there. But being an optimist is a matter of intention.
Mm,
And so I find for myself, if I can every day
mm,
add something about gratitude or compassion or care or, getting myself aligned because I know exactly how to do that. And everybody can really do that.
mm,
And then adding the layer of compassion because there's so much to have compassion about in this world right now.
yeah.
um, when you care for somebody and you experience what it's like to care for somebody, then you want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it sets you on a path,
Mm,
make it easier because it's so fulfilling. Um, so I would say that, and then also being able to make peace with whatever the circumstances that come up in your life
mm,
if you can't do anything about it. I mean, there are many people that are trapped in different things,
yes.
but making peace, and I'm talking about real peace, not
Mhm,
pretend peace,
yes.
making peace with things can really help settle our systems to a place where we can get more intuitive guidance about
Mm,
what to do next. And so staying optimistic is that you can do this in whatever circumstance that you're in.
mm,
It may not always be easy,
yeah.
but I think human beings are built to do this.
Mm,
I think we're built to have more optimism if we
mm,
can get it. And you said a magic word earlier to me, which is the whole thing about nature.
mm,
And nature is a salve because it's plants, animals, trees, ocean, all of that. That's been my go-to solution
mm.
for any of this stuff. Um, so I'm just going to tell a quick story, and it's about a bird.
Okay.
You're mentioning a bird. So the other day I was outside and I saw this blackbird just
Mhm,
sitting on the ground. And, I was watching it and I was watching it. And then it took off and
mhm,
started to soar to a dock. Well, under its wings were these two patches of orange feathers. You could only see them if the bird was actually flying. And I got to see this. I'd never seen anything like it. It's not a red-winged blackbird. It's these two patches of orange under the wings. And I watched it and I felt like, wow,
mm,
this bird is gorgeous.
mm.
And I just felt so blessed to
Yeah.
be able to see something like that. I had little tears in my eyes for
Yeah.
because I had that experience. So it's things like that. If you can get something as deep as I got from just
Mhm,
one little experience, from understanding or appreciating,
mm.
what's out there, whether it's forests, it's oceans, it's parks, you can start to change how you're experiencing things. Life isn't at you. You are at or delivering or being part of life. And so this is what I highly recommend: appreciation, gratitude, even things like people pulling out their phones, and on their phones would be people that they love. It could be
Mm.
a pet. It could be when they were in that place in nature and it brings it back. I mean, my phone actually, it scrolls through my pictures and it shows me different things every day. And
Uh-huh.
that reminds me. And so I start my day with looking at that and what I truly love or have gratitude about and so on. The more you practice it,
Mm.
the more you can actually change what's going on in your baseline and become more optimistic if that's where you want to go and
Mm.
be. So I'd say bring back an emotional memory of gratitude. And nature's one of those that can
Mm-hmm.
mess with it.
Oh,
So
I love it.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of those. I have the feeling that we see life so much in similar ways.
Mhm.
I like I've told you, I'm very appreciative with small things, and I'm like you. When we are in the park or in the wild forest or in the ocean, I'm always appreciating those small things. And then when you shared about that bird, I also experienced the blue feather, and they are the one who making this cute noise each time because I we notice this bird pretty much when we are in the parks, but the wild ones. And since it's new for me, kind of like, oh my God, look at that. You know, my inner child again,
Yeah.
happy moment. And I'm just enjoying it. And I have this tendency to replicate their voice, their sound. And so when I do that, I again practicing what you said, appreciation. And for me, what's important, it's really grounding when
Mm.
I am with nature. It reminds me where I'm coming from and always reminding me. I think I have mentioned this with you that as we evolve, wherever these projects of mine will lead me, I will always make sure the intention and genuine, sincere approach in life to stay grounded because life itself in the world we're living, we can really be distracted on the other life that we think would bring value. And then in the end, we realize, hang on a second, where all this life brought me now? Why am I feel so lost? So I love what you mentioned about appreciation, gratitude, and nature. And my God, so many things. And I'm sure that just being having this conversation with you for our listeners, they're super curious of what else you offer, what else programs, how can they reach out, how they can connect, or how can they know more. So where is the best place, Christiana, to reach out to you or connect with you or even with the HeartMath?
Oh, I appreciate that very much. Yes. So people can connect with me on LinkedIn. Uh, it's under my name, Christiana Bishop. People can connect by going to our website, and that's heartmath.org. That's
Mm-hmm.
heart and math put together.org. Um, you can reach out to me by sending me an email because
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that often talks to a lot of people. So training at heartmath.org. And then to learn more about our programs, our certification programs, and some of the things, if you go to heartmath.org/training,
Okay.
pretty simple. There's a lot of information there, and we have like 6 different programs. And people can reach out to me and ask for my scheduler, and then they
Mm,
can schedule a time. And I'd be happy to talk to people about it. Very.
awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I do take note of that. And for our audience, don't worry, as I always say, we will make sure to provide that in every platform to ensure that you'll be able to have the right place to connect and the right place to look at what would be helpful and valuable for you to moving forward. Now, Christiana, before I let you go, there's one last question I want to ask you. Whatever that first thing come to mind, what is it, that one truth about heart that many people refuse or resist or underestimate, but need or must embrace? And what would that be?
That every person has one. We are not different from that perspective. Every person has a heart. And one thing that I discovered, I actually did a little podcast on this a long time ago, but if you think of the word heart, if you rearrange the letters, it spells earth. Okay? Heart and earth. We are here on this earth to experience more heart. And as we do that, we start to, there's actually an electromagnetic field around the heart that emanates. It's natural, and so our emotions actually flow on that heart field. That's why we understand when people are not feeling well, or they're, tension in the air or whatever. The more that we can add to that heart field coherence, the more we can connect with others, the more we can create that ripple effect that's needed in this world. So that's what I think about heart and the earth.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I love the fact that, as always, whenever we have this connection, the peace, the calm of your presence, it's really beautiful. And for people watching or listening, I mean, that's a lot of great wisdom, insights, and the calmness feeling that Christiana has shared to us. And if you found this episode valuable, please share it so that others can also discover the new ways to bring more openness to our hearts and bring more calm, peace, and love. That we are all having one heart, we have one, and then we are here really having the opportunity to experience the real change in our lives. So thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, with yours truly, Cindy Marie, here to empower your life. Christiana, once again, I appreciate you so much, and the insights, the story, the peace, the calmness, your presence, just amazing. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. This was so fun. I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to our next conversation, whatever that's going to be.
Yes. What an incredible, calming, and peaceful, and lots of wisdom conversation we had with Christiana Bishop. And if you enjoyed this episode, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little heart and stillness in their lives. Follow our podcast and leave a review and help us grow so we can reach more people to empower lives. Until next time, stay optimistic, stay curious, and don't forget to have fun. Believe in yourself. You've got what it takes to pursue your dreams and make a positive impact. Keep going and be unstoppable.